Donald Trump has had a birthday parade, and I'm sure it warmed your
Do,
cockles.
do, 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 do.
Because I'm sure what we were all thinking, yes, oh, how can we celebrate this lovely man? And this is brilliant. Betches_news said, by age 79, you probably should have outgrown the need for a birthday tank parade.
I'm going to correct you there, Gemma, because he sort of tried. He tried to have a birthday parade. So it was meant to be an event with a 200,000 strong show of force. But it ended up being this sort of dwindling, sort of drab, sparse, like underwhelming crowd of diehard supporters, of which there were few, and maybe some confused tourists. So it was less this. And more this. I love it. I love that. That sound is a genuine recording of a squeaky tank. This is the best thing about it. So this was mid-procession. So it's not like this was right at the beginning or right at the end. There was barely anyone there. And then this tank just going down the road with no one cheering, no one clapping, and you can just hear that squeak, squeak, squeak. It was giving Simpsons level comedy. It was so funny. Mark Rubio was yawning, like what's her name, Melania. She was questioning her life.
Her happy self.
She was questioning her life choices right there.
Honestly, and the soldiers as well, they were pretty out of time. And there was actually a lot of Russian trolling as well. And they were posting these pictures of these soldiers like perfect, absolute perfection, synchronized, marching. Whereas the American ones were a little bit like all over the shop and a little bit meh. But some people had a great time. So have a listen to pro-Trump Rebecca Koffler speaking to Fox News. And she might have had a few vinos.
With us now is former Defense Intel Agency officer Rebecca Koffler. Rebecca, what are your thoughts tonight on the incredible symbolism and the messaging that we saw here tonight from the Commander-in-Chief on the Army's 250th birthday?
I am so excited, Emily and Lucas Tomlinson. Everybody, this is incredible. Finally, the United States is back. I want to really thank all of our Army, Navy, and Air Force officers who have been sacrificing their lives. Literally, their families have been contributing to the mission.
Okay.
I think she's had a few. I think she's mixed as well. I think she's mixed her. Yeah. I think she's gone beer to wine. You're supposed to do it the other way around, aren't you?
She's potentially, it's like a whole mixture of things. Like she probably didn't get a good night's sleep the night before. Perhaps potentially
wasn't drinking water regularly.
Hasn't eaten.
Got to have a kebab at the end before you go on Fox News. Yeah. Have a kebab. Soak it up.
Soak it up. Glass of milk. Grain and grape going on there as well. She's been on the Sex on the Beach and a pint. It's just all bad.
The whole thing is just a spectacle. Trump's team were actually asking for fundraising before the event, asking for donations for this parade. Because I think nothing screams strong leadership like asking your followers to bankroll your military cosplay session, which didn't even attract the crowds. Genuinely, it was so bad. Mr. David Quinn wrote, note from a friend in DC. I was really worried about the kinds of people who'd show up for this idiocy, but there's no one here. There are fewer people watching than watch anything. No traffic, empty restaurants, more TV reporters than any other affiliated group. Oh, and just a quick ref to this as well. Not only was it just underwhelming, it was also quite destructive because those tanks, those massive tanks, they are not supposed to go on just your normal roads. They're not built for that. And so those tanks significantly exceeded the limit, the weight limit you're supposed to have for the roads. And the Army estimated potential street repair costs of up to $16 million.
And this is the whole point as well, by the way, in case you didn't know, I'm sure you do, the No Kings protests that broke out are precisely because he behaves like a king. He behaves like the king in Shrek. And that is not as you are supposed to behave when you're a democratically elected president.
But a king might bring in a crowd, and he didn't. I mean, Where was everyone?
Jeff D. Rich said, Trump's parade could have been an email.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, great tweet. And your pal Austin said, having empathy is so weird. The images from Trump's birthday party almost tricked me into feeling sorry for him. I kept having to remind myself that he's the worst person alive and he doesn't deserve a morsel of happiness. But it's hard to see someone throw a giant, expensive birthday party only to have no one show up. And in this case, millions showed up in other cities to say, genuinely, fuck you and your stupid fucking birthday. And obviously, that's all he deserves. But God, that parade was sad.
It was. And that contrast was brutal between his little, pitiful little crowds and the No Kings process. So basically, there are estimates that, I think this is quite a conservative estimate, but over 5 million people across more than 2,100 cities protesting. It's being reported as the biggest ever US protest. And he's been on top form. You'll be pleased to know top form at the G7 summit this week. And I mean top form for the troll, because we just love these moments. Beamer Kate wrote, Americans, update on your boy at the G7. He dropped trade agreement documents on the ground, had to be cut off by the Canadian Prime Minister for blatantly lying, referred to a country by the wrong name, and is now leaving early.
We just signed a document. This is, sorry about that. This is it.
A very important document.
A little windy out here. Give me that. We just signed it, and it's done. And so we have our trade agreement with the European Union.
Oh, no, it's the UK, not the Europe. We left that thing. Yeah,
there was that thing. You might have missed it. It was called something beginning with B. Don't know.
Why does he have to hold up everything like he's a child doing show it? Here it is. Here you go. Although I did think people were saying Starmer shouldn't have picked it up. And I'm like, look, you do that. In fact, it's very British to do that kind of thing. In fact, it would have been more British if Starmer had apologised. You ever do that? Like someone stands on your toe and you go, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah,
that would have been
also,
British.
What you don't want to do is like, Minion, come and pick up the papers. That's not a good look either. No. So yeah, Starmer being the one who can probably bend down more easily, still has the use of his knees. He did get down and pick it up, but it did also make for some pretty unfortunate memes because you don't want images of the Prime Minister of the UK. It's bad enough how much he's toadying up to this disgusting warmongering idiotic narcissist, and anyway, sorry.
So anyway, as the summit goes on, he just continues to make a tit of himself, and it's no secret that other leaders just think he's a joke. There's one video going viral, and it's of Giorgia Meloni from Italy, and Macron, and they're having it's proper schoolgirl. They're like having a little whisper, clearly talking about Trump, and Meloni, her face betrays her and she does a massive eye roll, and it's like, what were they talking about?
I'd love it if they're saying smelly old cheesy disgusting old fart. Anyway, also G7 not really supposed to be about just listening to this rambling old fool. It's supposed to be to discuss and address sort of major global issues, but Trump cut it short. He left early, he'd had enough, was pretty bit tired, fancied a cheeseburger. I mean, who knows what he went off to do, trawlers? We don't know. Maybe he did go off to
golf.
Maybe golf, maybe birthday plans for next year because you got to get ahead of the game, go and oil some tanks. Or maybe he wanted to work on the plans to launch the new Trump mobile phone. Yes, you heard it here, folks, because it's not enough to have all that MAGA merch and a cryptocurrency. He's going to launch a mobile phone.
I know.
Classy.
Mike Singleton wrote, Seth Meyers on the new Trump mobile phone service said, best of all, you won't have any need for a friends and family plan.